No one in that city imagined that, within a matter of hours, something completely beyond reality would shatter normal life forever. It wasn't a distant light in the sky. It wasn't an old rumor. It was something seen up close, something that breathed, something that left people in shock, streets sealed off, the military silent, and a question that refuses to disappear to this day. What really happened in Varginha? That afternoon felt ordinary. The sky was clear, the streets calm, nothing out of place. No warning that one of the most disturbing UFO cases in the world was about to unfold. 3 young women were walking home when something near a wall caught their attention. At first, it looked like an unusual shadow. But as they moved closer, fear took over. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't human. It was crouched low, completely still, as if trying to hide. The creature was small, fragile-looking, with dark skin that appeared oily or damp. Its eyes were large, reddish, deeply unsettling, eyes that, according to the witnesses, never blinked. Veins were visible beneath the skin, pulsing. The body was disproportionate, with long arms and a head far too large to be human. But the most disturbing detail wasn't its appearance. It was the smell. A strong metallic odor, similar to ammonia, that filled the air around it. Panic set in instantly. The women ran, shaking, crying, struggling to process what they had just seen. This wasn't imagination. It wasn't collective fear. They described the same thing, hook up with identical details, without contradictions, and what seemed like an isolated encounter would soon become something much bigger. Not long after, residents began noticing strange activity in the streets, military vehicles moving through residential areas, trucks that didn't belong there. Soldiers positioned in ways completely out of place for a quiet city. Areas were isolated. People were told to stay back. No explanation was given, no announcement, just sudden military presence and absolute silence. Reports multiplied. Some claimed to have seen similar creatures being transported. Others spoke of one that appeared injured, captured with difficulty. The atmosphere in the city shifted. Fear spread quickly. Something had happened, and it wasn't being explained. Amid this tension, one of the most unsettling episodes emerged. A soldier who was allegedly directly involved in capturing one of the creatures became seriously ill shortly afterward. His condition deteriorated rapidly. A severe infection took hold, progressing far too fast. Despite medical care, he didn't survive. The official explanation never convinced anyone. There were no clear answers. No public investigation, only more silence. Coincidence? Possibly. But what makes this even more disturbing is the context. People close to the situation claimed the soldier had direct physical contact with something unknown, that he wasn't wearing protective gear, that he touched the creature, and after that he was never the same. When someone dies under unexplained circumstances, following an event that authorities insist never happened, doubt stops being paranoia and becomes necessary. At the same time, military hospitals reportedly experienced unusual activity. Restricted areas, medical staff instructed not to speak. Witnesses claimed something was taken inside under heavy escort. No public records, no confirmations, only stories that align in an unsettling way. As pressure grew and the story gained national and international attention, An official response was finally issued. The explanation was simple, too simple. According to authorities, there was no creature. Nothing extraordinary had happened. It was all a misunderstanding. A human being with physical deformities, case closed. But the explanation didn't hold up. The descriptions didn't match. The smell, the eyes, the behavior, the military response, none of it aligned with the official narrative. And the most troubling question remained. If there was nothing to hide, why go to such lengths to deny it? Why the contradictions? Why the silence? Years passed, and the witnesses never changed their stories. The details remained the same. No retractions, no inconsistencies. Despite pressure, ridicule, and public skepticism, they stood firm. What they saw was not human, and it did not come from here. Independent researchers began connecting the dots. Reports of strange objects in the sky over the region days earlier, unusual sounds, electrical disturbances, animals behaving erratically. Everything seemed connected, pieces of a much larger puzzle. The most widely accepted theory among those who studied the case is that something crashed, an unidentified object, something that wasn't meant to be seen, and after the impact, entities survived. That would explain the rapid response, the capture, the silent transport, and the immediate effort to suppress information. Others believe the case involves secret technology, classified military projects, or experimental craft. But that theory fails to explain the biological details of the creature, its appearance, its movements, and the intense reaction of those who encountered it face to face. There are also those who believe this was the first uncontrolled non-human contact on Brazilian soil. A situation mishandled, a mistake, something that went wrong. And when something like that happens, the priority isn't truth, it's control. Time passed, but the case never faded. It grew stronger. More witnesses came forward, more unofficial documents surfaced, more connections were drawn between Varginha and similar incidents around the world. The city became known as the Brazilian Roswell. It was not as a comparison, but because it followed the same pattern: sighting, capture, denial, silence. The most frightening part isn't the idea that we're not alone. It's the possibility that contact has already happened, and the truth was buried efficiently enough that only fragments escaped. Fragments like those from Varginha. Today, decades later, no one has been able to definitively prove what happened. But no one has been able to completely disprove it either. And when a story survives time, ridicule, and weak official explanations, it stops being just a rumor. It becomes an echo of something that perhaps was never meant to be seen. Something that, for a brief moment, stood exposed to human eyes. Something that served as a disturbing reminder that reality may only be a thin surface covering something far greater. The question remains, if nothing happened, why do so many people remember the same thing? Why do the details align? Why was the silence so absolute? Maybe we'll never know the full truth. Or maybe the truth is simply waiting for the right moment to surface. Until then, the Varginha alien case remains an open wound in modern history, a reminder that sometimes the unknown isn't in the sky, but right in front of us. And if that creature truly wasn't from this world, what else has already passed through without us ever realizing? Some echoes, no matter how hard they try to silence them, never fade beyond reality.